Yeah, so this is a fair use from the Act of 1976. Disclaimer, Section 107, under critical and teaching and scholarship and educational purposes, research. I am not making any money off this. This is fair use, fair use.
Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachaha Kodash. Like to give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, the elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold, Shalom. To you sisters, Shwachwatim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Aram Yehowadah with the lesson. It says a man stabbed to death on Hollywood Walk of Fame after defending himself from a pit bull attack. Right? So this is crazy. You know? I mean, it's crazy. So that means these people seen them getting attacked from the pit bull, or the pit bull is theirs. Most likely they're the owner or whoever the person is, and they went ahead and stabbed the man on top of being bit. You know, going back into those, you know, he got treated like back in the 50s, you know, 60s, when these you know, these Edomites send these dogs after you, man. But you know, that's part of the scriptures. You know. But yeah, these curses are upon you, Jake. Right? These are time for you to hear and not to forbear. But there's a lot of times, Jake, it's forbearing, and these are the things that happen. Right?
You not only in grief. Today, we stand before you not only in grief, but in outrage. On May 20th, 2026, at approximately 3:25 p.m. on Hollywood Boulevard, my brother, Barry Lamar Henderson, suffered from a tragedy. He was a human being. He was someone's son, someone's brother, someone who deserved compassion, dignity, integrity, and the right to live. Instead, his life was taken away in a brutal and horrifying attack on Hollywood Boulevard. 4 men attacked my brother. A dog was used against him. And despite the fact that he was bleeding out and clearly in critical condition, aid was not rendered in time. My brother struggled with illness, mental illness, but mental illness does not make someone disposable. Mental illness does not justify violence. Mental illness does not erase someone's inhumanity. What happened was cruel. It was inhumane. And we believe it must be fully investigated as a hate crime. He was discriminated, harassed, and retaliated against as a Black man with a disability with lack of quality care. Every person involved, including those participated, those who failed to intervene, and those who neglected their duty to protect his life, must be held accountable. Too often, people suffer from mental illness, are treated as less than human. Too often, society looks away. Too often, excessive force and indifference are excused after the fact. We refuse to let this happen here. My brother's life mattered.
Yeah, so this is Jeremiah chapter 15, verse 3. And I will appoint over them, who are them, the Israelites, right? See, it's kind of like they say, in the world, everybody want to be a nigga, until it's time to be a nigga, right? Because what? These curses, these things are upon us, right? And I don't know if those were so-called the Northern Kingdom, the so-called Mexicans that were attacking that Jake, which I'm imagining that must have been, because they had the pit bull chasing him, and it was like 4 guys, and they were attacking him. And then she said that the sister said she wants this to be a hate crime, right? Not unless it was Jake's, and she said she want it to be a hate crime because she feel like he was on the point of being mentally ill. So that's a hate crime as far as being a hatred on the mentally ill. If those were Jake's, I mean, I couldn't really see, But regardless, that's the problem, the things that we have against the tribes, right? You're in a time of Jacob's trouble, but Jacob is a trouble to himself as well. And that's why the Lord said, I'll put over them 4 kinds, saith Yahweh, right? And it's the Father, right? And the Lord, ultimately, the Father gave dominion to the Son, which is Yahweh Shai. So Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, a sword, right? Which I guess they had knives, which is a former sort of a sword, a dagger, or whatever, a knife, right? Sword to slay, right? So they slayed them, they killed them, unalived them. And a dog, what? A dog to tear. So that actually happened. See, these are the times that the Lord is making. The Bible is jumping off the page, showing you in real time, right? And then when time gets more, what do you say? More dangerous when the gloves are off, and the fowls of heaven, right? So when the gloves are off, even the fowls of heaven are gonna come against you, right? You're gonna be slain. You're gonna be what the Lord said. Your body should be dung on the ground, like dung on the ground. No one's gonna come and grab you up, and you even then you seen the cars that were passing by. You seen the guy riding by on the bike. He looked, but he just kept on riding. Like it's like dung upon the ground. Like nobody's coming to help you, right? And it says, and the beast of the field and the beast of the earth to devour and destroy, right? And yeah. So this is the time that you're about to be fastly approaching, where, hey man, it's gonna be like the sword, the dog to tear, the fowls of the air when your body's laying on the ground, and the dung, and the beast, right? While your body's on the ground, you're dead. You're basically either unalived or almost unalived. Yeah, so this is 1 Kings chapter 21, verse 24. And that in him that dieth of Ahab, right? And Ahab was a king of Israel. See, and showing that the Lord is no respecter of persons. Just because he's the king of Israel doesn't mean there was not going to be a judgment, right? Just because you're Israelites, just because the Lord set it up saying that we will be kings and priests, doesn't mean you're not going to get a judgment, right? In the city, the dogs shall eat. See? And where was that guy at? He was in the city, L.A. city, right? And him that dieth in the field shall the fowls of the air eat. See? These are things that the Lord declared a long time ago. These things will happen to you, right? And just because you're an Israelite doesn't mean there ain't going to be a judgment, right? Here it is. Ahab is the king. He was the king of Israel, right? But he was a wicked king, right? So judgment doeth go forth every day. You know, the Most High, hey, he's not a respecter of persons, right? Yeah, so this is Metro. It's a UK news article, news place from the UK. It says meteor traveling at 75,000 miles per hour explodes, causing a sonic boom above a major U.S. city. Meteor explode above Boston, causing large sonic boom. All right. See, look like it could play. Yeah, so this says map from NOAA shows where the meteor entered the atmosphere near Boston. So basically a photo and a statement. NASA said it appeared to have fragmented at an altitude of 40 miles above extreme northeast Massachusetts, southeast New Hampshire. So I guess the one big one landed over there, and then another one, I guess a smaller piece right there. They're saying it landed. Well, you kind of could see it. Right there. Right there. See right there? It says enter into the atmosphere. Right there. Oh. Can you make this bigger? Yeah. Let's see if I can make it bigger. A little bit bigger. You can kind of see right when it goes across the sky right there. Yeah, so you're living in some different times. Yeah. Yeah, this is Genesis chapter 1, verse 14. And this should be Elohim's. Shouldn't say just God. It should be Elohim's, right? Elohim, which were the angels. Right, it's not God, it's not the Most High, it's the Elohims. Said, let there be light in the firmament of the heavens to divide the day from the night, and let them be for what? Signs. Right, you're seeing things falling from the sky. This is not the first time. They said some type of meteor or whatever else was coming that fell down, which, like I said, my personal opinion, it could be Russia or somebody shooting something over here already, right? And they're just calling it a meteor. That's my opinion. You know, speaking as a man, I don't know, but when you got crazy things going on, it's definitely what be, and let them be for what? Signs. So it's definitely a sign. And for seasons, and for days, and for years, right? And that's how you know, like the moon's where you get the word month from, because there's a moon cycle, and it's about, a month's period, about 30 days period between every moon cycle. From the new moon, where it's like black, where you can't see it, and then when it gets full moon's about 14 days, right? About the 14th day, it's a full moon, and then you got another 15 days or so, give or take, for the next couple of, and then it'll what's called wane. It'll be back to a new moon, right? By the 30th, sometimes I guess 31st, but mostly normally it'll be like 30 days, right? And it'll be back to black where you can't see it. And that's the new moon. That's the cycle, But that's for signs. But then when you got things falling from the sky, this is Ecclesiasticus chapter 34, verse 5. It says, "Great is the outer one," right? Of course, the Most High Yahweh, but Yahweh Shai is the one who basically created the world, right? The Father gave him the blueprint, and he did the work. The Elohims, which mean the angels, and the top angel being Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls JC, who the Lord gave dominion over the entire universe, right? Everything, gave him dominion. That made it, right? See, really, ultimately, Yahweh Shai made this world. That made it, and at his commandment, runneth hastily, right? It all happened. It did exactly what he said when he said it to do it. It did it with haste. It didn't tarry. It didn't wait. It did exactly what he said when he said it, right? He made, right, which him and the angels, but of course Yahweh Shai being that top angel, he made the moon also to serve her season, right? Dang, that's crazy. I was just saying that for a declaration of time, right? Yeah, for the month, like the month thing, all the way to a year. You have these signs, it's tell you the time, the month, right? And a sign of the world, right? So when you're seeing certain things coming from the sky, and things ain't meant to fall from the sky, the Lord set it up that, that he hung it up there, right? Yeah, so this is Matthew chapter 16, verse 3. It says, in the morning it will be fair weather today, for the sky is red and lowering. O ye hypocrites, right? And that's a lot of you people here in America, especially just the people of the world, just in general, but especially here in America, there's a lot of hypocrites, man. Ye can discern the face of the sky, but can ye not discern the signs of times? So obviously, we're in a time that judgment is coming upon America, Babylon the Great. And if that's a meteor, which, like I said, I don't think so. I believe some of those countries are shooting something without the without the without the nuke, without the, you know, without the, what do they call it? You know, because I know they have the nuclear head, but then they have the head of the missile, and without the, basically without the atoms, without the combustible, you know, warheads, right? Right? Without, you know, and just shooting the talent, you know. Or maybe it is a meteor, but even then, it's look at what's going on, right? The beginning of what was this year, or it was last year, that the goddamn demons or whatever come out of the thing at the mall. You had all these blood moons. You had fire coming down from the sky. I mean, how could a place like Hawaii, when it has so much rain in Hawaii, how could it possibly burn the way it burned? It's just, it's impossible, right? Unless you got a do weapon, right? Yeah, because that could burn, right? They burn everything but the things that were blue, right? So, and then they rub it in your face and show you that they showed you this 20 years ago in The Simpsons. So, come on. But then you have to sit around and pretend like that did not just happen. And then they rubbed it in your face about it. You know, but hey, then you got to sit around and what? Be a hypocrite. You know, and just la da da da. Everything's the same. Everything's okay. Yeah, let's just, we just got to go vote. We just got to vote the right person in there. We just got to, we just have to vote. We just have to, we have to change. We just have to, we have to, what are these people are doing? Let's, let's not pay for anything. Let's, let's strike businesses, and we won't pay for stuff. We won't do. It's already too late for all that. They're basically trying to snatch you out of your jobs anyway. They're actually already planned for you to be homeless and have no money in the first place. Let alone do they care about you being able to pay for things at certain stores or anything like that. That'd have been something you needed to do like in the 80s and the 90s, or even maybe the early 2000s. 20 years ago. But there were men out there teaching you and showing you, and there was a bunch of, because I remember, was it 2014, 2013, 2014? There was a lot of information on the internet, and that's before they went and start scrubbing things off the internet. It was man, so much information, but people just played it off as, oh, that's just internet stuff. That's just internet stuff. Hey, it says a wicked and adulterous generation. Yep, that's what's going on at the end of the day, and that's what Babylon, America, it breeds that. You just wrapped up in being an adulteress, adulterers and adulteresses, seeking after a sign, and that's sign enough, but it ain't to you. It's not good enough. Things is falling out the sky. They calling it. They're saying these meteors is coming out the sky. You got World War III. You got the economic crunch with the blockade. They're talking about there's not going to be any oil, any water, because the data centers are using up the water. They're using up the power, the electricity, bro. I mean, you don't know what time you're living in. Hey. See, but you still looking for a sign, and there should be no sign, but be given unto it, but the sign of the prophet Jonas, right? And what did Jonas prophesy? Hey, Nineveh is about to be destroyed. And that's why America is spiritually also known as Nineveh. The destruction is evident that's coming to this place. So we're telling you to repent, come back to the Lord while you have time. You know? And he left them and departed. And that's what's about to happen. The prophet's about to leave and depart from this place. Because what? They're going to have the famine of the word. Once the famine of the word is there, how can they understand, or how can they get any unless there be a preacher, right? How can you faith come by hearing, and hearing by the word of God? How could they unless there be a preacher? If there's no preacher, boom, no one else is getting sealed, right? Then the Lord is done. The elect is sealed, starting with the 144,000. Then the innumerable multitude will be sealed, and there's no one else to done. And now you missed your opportunity. You know. Yeah. 2nd Ezra chapter 9 verse 1. It says, "He answered me," which is the angel, "then said, measure thus the time diligently in itself." So when you're seeing things happening in the world, hey, even these all these people keep talking about they're gonna so-called put black people back in slavery. you gotta know what time you're living in. Meteors and all sorts of things is man. And this is what they have. This is what they have to come up with, right? Insane. You got to measure the time diligently in itself. Measure thus, measure thou the time diligently in itself, when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, right? Hey, and that's what these are things are happening, man. The RFID micro C hip is definitely on the scene. They're pushing for it. The fourth industrial grid is going to be linking with the fifth industrial grid. You know, the Internet of all things, connected to everything, even to you, right? That's what they plan on doing, right? But things are falling from the sky. People are getting chased by dogs and getting the sword. Hey, the Bible is jumping off the page, bro. You better recognize what time you in. You better repent while you can, you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. Yeah, so this is Metro, which I believe is, it's from UK. But it says, basically this is in the UK. This is Metro. It says, urgent warning issued over dangerous caterpillar that can cause breathing difficulties. All right. Yeah. So continuing on, it says bugs pose risks to people and pets. It says residents in Surrey, however you say it, have been issued an urgent warning over dangerous caterpillar which can cause irritations and difficult breathing. Working Council has warned locals to avoid contact with oak processionary moths, caterpillars, and their nest, which they say can pose risks to both people and pets. Whilst small, they say these caterpillars can cause irritations, and their tiny hairs contain toxins that can be dangerous if touched or inhaled. Right? So, hey, man, these people are looking for anything to say, to have some type of global pandemic or something to scare people. But hey, maybe someone was there, they were leaning against a tree and they had their cup, and the thing fell and they drunk it, and the caterpillar was in the thing. But how many people are having, looking to go be around some caterpillars, or but they're letting you know it's dangerous. It could be around pets. Oh, now next this thing is going to be airborne. Hey, man, a way to lock down the globe. Hey, we're in that time. Yeah, so this is basically, they're saying this is a guy who got in contact with it, the caterpillar. I guess it's supposed to be irritation or something by the throat. Right? Caterpillar can cause human to break out in hives. Yeah, that's what it's basically saying. Yeah, so this is Fox News. It says tick bites emergency visits hits highest seasonal levels in years as doctors warn of disease surge. Right, and this is the time that you're living in, man. They're trying. The scamdemics, things are out there, and I mean, not to say things ain't legitimately, stuff to worry about, or you look into and be careful. But knowing the times that we're living in, it says tick bites related emergency visits are at their highest highest seasonal levels since 2017 across most U.S. regions. Rising concerns about increased Lyme disease and other tick-borne illnesses. Right? That, according to the recent data from the Center of Disease Control and Preventions, right? Which they're not preventing anything. Tick bites tracker, which monitor weekly emergency department visits, as associated. It's like a visit associated with tick bites across the country for every 100,000 ER visits. Approximately 71 were related to tick bites in 2026, in April of 2026, right? Compared to a historical seasonal average of roughly 30 per 100,000. Okay, yeah. So, no, it's 30, but now they said 71. So it's up from, so it's more than, it's doubled. It's basically what they're saying. Okay. Yeah. So this is Second Esdras, chapter 16, verse 18 G and T. It says troubles will come, and many people will groan. Famine will come, and many will die. War will come, and the world powers will tremble, right? Because they think they got everything in control, right? And that's the time that we're living in, a polycrisis. You got famine over this side, you got this over here, you got disease, pestilence on this side, right? So much going on. You have a war where you live at, a war in the world. So many things going on all at one time, right? This is tremble. Disasters will come. Yeah, see, you have so much thing going on. So disasters after disaster after disasters, right? That's why I put it in plural form. It didn't just say disaster, but disasters, plural, will come, and everyone will be terrified. Yep. With what will people do when these disasters come? Yeah, what are you gonna do? You haven't been putting away things in your spiritual piggy bank. I mean, and then you got to be the elect anyway, right? At the end of the day. But what else is what's going on? What famine, epidemic, right? The diseases. What they're saying, all these different diseases, which epidemics end up becoming a pandemic, right? Which that's what this is going to be for the world. So it's not just going to be an epidemic of diseases and different things. It's going to be, they're going to make it where it's a pandemic, right? Troubles and suffering are sent to punish and correct people. See, and this is really, since, well, really even before COVID, but I mean, the Lord really showed me that during the COVID, right? People are all afraid, doing this and that, and we were still out there teaching. We're the ones who didn't get the jump shots. And then people were all afraid, and then everything subsided and went back, and so-called back to normal. Everybody went to buying these Bibles, but then what now what? You even had your favorite celebrities come out and mention, they may not have the full 100% truth, but they mention about you so-called Negroes being the Israelites, which we capitalize in it and saying you Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans are the Israelites. So, hey man, you got to get it right, man. So hey, it's a time where you better get corrected, but punishments are and sufferings are sent to punish and correct people. See, these are all for correction. But see, a lot of you ain't getting it right. You ain't looking at it like, damn, let's measure the time diligently. Oh, wait, the world's about to come. Hey, I better get myself together because these are unprecedented times, as they say. But in spite of all of this, they will not turn away from their sins. They soon forget the punishments, right? You're gonna forget about that the meteor fell from the sky. You're gonna forget about the brother who was getting chased across the street by a pit bull and 4 wild, ugly people with knives. You know what I mean? You're gonna forget there's bugs and things that things is gonna cause sickness and you can't breathe and Lyme disease. You forget all about let's you know let's forget COVID ever even happened. Let's just forget all about that. Katrina, earthquakes, all these different things that's happened through time. You go, oh, that's something that happened, but not looking at it like, hey, those were things that were sent to show you what the actual thing says, scourges for an amendment, right? To amend yourself, to correct yourself, to pray and realize you need to seek the Father again. Yeah, so with all that, I'm just go ahead and close out. So I don't give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachaha Kwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds preaching in truth and sincerity, risking their lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect. The elect, Shalom, to the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom to your sisters, your Chwatium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence, and above all, Cham Yasharallah.